Hello, welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be answering the most commonly asked questions about S-work that relates to like Slushy, OF, everything when it comes to this. There are 20 questions and let's just dive right into it. So Katiana, my assistant, put together all these questions from all the emails that we receive, from all of the YouTube video questions, like everything, the most commonly asked questions. That way there's one place that answers it all. So hopefully this covers some of those like burning questions that you have. So yeah, let's go into it. Like get comfortable because we've got 20 questions to answer. I just finished my Starbucks, so I am like hyped up, ready to go. Grab yours. I don't know. Okay, let's get into this. Number one, OF versus Slushy, what's the biggest difference? So for me, the biggest difference is that if you are a smaller creator and you need a place to get started, or if you're a smaller creator, you don't have a following, or you don't want to post it on your Instagram, Slushy kind of already has cultivated an audience and you're getting pushed out to them consistently. Biggest difference is that you can find an audience on Slushy. Now that's not to say that you shouldn't promote it though, because Slushy is still a newer company. So you still want to get new eyes to Slushy so that the company can grow and then so that your platform can grow. And I always still think it's super important to promote yourself, but I think the biggest difference is going to be that Feed Me page where you can just get discovered. And if you're newer, it's a great place to just kind of get your foot in the door. Okay, the next question is, how do I sign up? I still have not been approved. Now, this is a very common question. I see a lot on like the Slushy videos, but also on my own videos, is like, what is taking so long? They are still a small company. Like I said, they're scaling slowly because they want to make sure that they can provide like the best support for their creators that they already have. And you just kind of have to be patient, really. What I would do is I would just make sure it looks like you are a creator, because they want to accept the creators that are going to be posting consistently, that are going to, you know, actually involve themselves in being a creator and like really going for it. So if you have like no socials, it's not to say like, oh, you have to look a certain way or that you have to have a certain amount of fans or anything like that. Make sure you look like, hey, I'm actually going to put in work for this, because then hopefully they'll be able to approve you quicker. What you can do on the back end is really just focus on your socials and in growing them. That doesn't have anything to do with you getting approved on Slushy, but in the case that you do get approved, you want to make sure that you're ready to go. So just make sure that you're up to date with keeping up with your socials, being consistent, and I think that once you get the hang of that, then you'll be ready for when you do get approved. But like I said, they're just scaling slowly so that they can really give their attention to the creators that they have, and every time they take on a new creator, that they're able to give them the support that they need as well. So just make sure you're being like a great creator, you're putting yourself out there, and you'll get there. It's nothing to do with like following or anything like that. Are OF and Slushy safe and secure? Yes, they have to follow certain guidelines for their companies to stay afloat. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what you want. Like, is your content safe and secure? Obviously, anyone can screenshot your content, but I actually will be talking about DMCAs very, very soon, because I am dabbling into it and seeing if it works for me, if I like it. What that is basically where a company will go through all the different sites that are using your content and make sure that they get swept off the internet. So when it comes to that type of stuff, there's really nothing that OF or Slushy or anybody can really do. It's the DMCAs that you sign up for that will help you get that stuff removed. But that's just leaked content and that's totally normal. But as far as like safe and secure, like it's as safe as possible, these sites, because they have to be. Like your information is safe, all of that stuff. Like yes, you have to put in your documentation that you're of age and all of these things, because they need to make sure that you're of age to be making adult content, and all that information is completely safe. So yeah, there's nothing else to it. Who can see my content? So it depends on where you're posting and what it is. For OF, if you have a free page, then anybody who subscribes to that free page can then see whatever's on your wall. If you have a paid page, then anybody who pays for that subscription can see whatever's on your wall. If you're posting stuff in the messages, then only the people who you send it to can see those messages. If you are locking content and you put it up either on your free page on the wall, then someone has to pay and then they can see the unlocked content. And if you are putting it up on your paid page, there is no locked content on the actual feed, but you can lock content in the messages. And then they would have to open it and pay for it to actually then see it. So it depends where you're posting it, what you're posting. It's hard to say like who can see your content, because anyone, if they pay, can see your content. The next thing is on Slushy, it's sort of the similar situation. You can post stuff to everybody and it gives you that option where it'll say like a free piece of content. You can push free. You can push subscriber only content and it will just be for the subscribers, or you can push paid content and then that's gonna be only if someone pays for it. So those are the options. I feel like that's pretty like straightforward, pretty clear. You're just gonna have to start posting and see like how it works, because I can only tell you that, and then you're gonna have to make sure you're pressing the right buttons really to make sure the right people are seeing the content. And also something that I wanna say is you can't be worried about who's gonna see your content when you're in this industry. Like I know a lot of people wanna stay private and all of that, and we'll probably get into some questions like this. But at the end of the day, if you're not going to be like, yep, this is what I do, this is who I am, eventually someone may or may not come across your content, and you just have to be prepared for that. So you have to be confident to be like, yeah, this is what I do, you know? Okay, how do I make money on OF and Slushy? I can't believe this is a question. So you can lock your content with whatever price you want. And I always say it doesn't matter. Like, you know, when someone says, oh, what do I price my content? Try a bunch of different prices. Look at other people's content and see what they're charging. I charge anywhere from like $5 to like $200 for something. So it really is up to you. And it doesn't matter if you have a following. If someone wants to see you, they will pay, right? So it doesn't matter anything about that. Now, how do you make money? You make money off of subscriptions, which is if you lock your page to have a subscription, you don't have to. You can do a free page, but you can lock your page under like whatever subscription price you want. Mine is $8.99 and my Slushy is like 12 something, and the fans will pay a monthly fee and then you get paid off that. On top of that, or addition to that, you can also make money sending out messages that are locked. So your fans would then have to unlock the video that you send them for whatever price that you sent it for. That's another way you can make money. You can also make money off of referrals. If you refer other creators, then you don't make money off of them, but you make money off of the site. So whether that's Slushy or OF, you would make like, I think 1 to 5% off of whatever that creator makes. And it doesn't take from the creator, it takes from the platform. Another way is actually on Slushy, they just rolled out affiliates. So it's similar to referring a creator, but it's for having fans come to the site. They can use your affiliate link, get signed up through Slushy, and then you can make money off of whatever they spend on the site, on Slushy. You know, if they spend money with a different creator, not for the money that you make, because obviously you're already gonna make money off them, so you're not gonna double dip, but any money that they spend on the site with any other creator, you'll get 1%. And again, it doesn't take from the creator, it takes from the platform. So you don't have to worry about, oh, I don't want to take from a creator. No, it's not going to take from a creator. It's going to take from the platform. You can also do lives, which is a great way to make money as well. So you can get tips during your live, and there's plenty of different ways to actually host a live. You could do a tip option where everyone is kind of contributing to one pot, and that way you guys can collectively be like, okay, when we get to $100, then I will take my top off. When we get to $200, take my pants off, or whatever, like that. So then everyone kind of contributes. Or you can do another option where, okay, if we get a $10 tip, then I flash the screen for a minute or whatever, or 30 seconds. And then if we get a $20 tip, then I flash something else or whatever, or you do something. So then that's another strategy. And there's plenty of different ways to make tips on lives as well. Those are just a couple of options. Okay, number 6, what type of content can I share? So this is like a common question because on OF things have changed a lot, and a lot of the times, you know, the fine print is a little bit different than what you think it might be. So on OF, I would definitely be very careful, and I would read through all of their rules, honestly. I would read through all their terms and everything and just check and make sure that what you're doing is correct. I also want you to know that you have to tag anybody or anything that is in your video. So if you have somebody's hand in it, if you have somebody's voice in the background, you have to tag them. Be very, very careful with that because you don't want to get your content removed or banned from the site. I actually had my roommate taking a video, and I think he like coughed or he said something in the background, and his hands weren't even in it, nothing like that. And that piece of content got removed. So you have to be careful of like what is actually in your video and making sure you're tagging the people that are in your videos. So what kind of content can you share? You can share all adult content that is legal, okay? So that means nothing that's just illegal. Like obviously if you can go, I know that it's hard to say this because we're on YouTube here, okay. On OF, you can't get into extreme P. So like extreme stuff that is enlarging too much of a certain canal is not allowed, okay? But on Slushy, enlarging that area is okay. So I would say as long as things are legal, then Slushy's okay with it because they can be more extreme. But on OF, it just can't be the extreme version of things. It can be anything adult that you would see on P-Hub, just not the extreme stuff. And also no simulating illegal activities either. Simulating is like playing out, acting out illegal things, if you know what I mean. So simulation of SA or anything like that is a no-go. Also, no public nudity unless it's legal in the place that you are doing it and nobody else is in the content unless you tag them, right? And that goes for Slushy. Like it can if it's in a legal place. On OF, no public stuff at all unless it's like your backyard, you know? But I would not even write public even if it was your backyard. But again, it can be anything. Like I personally use toys. There are people that do boy-girl content, which literally is full on like banging it out. That is all fine. So if you're wondering what type of content, you can get pretty, you know, wild with it. You can do what you want. It's just you'd have to make sure it's legal stuff. And that means no bodily fluids that aren't just the regular stuff that comes out of your genital. Well, no, that is regular stuff. I can't even say it. I don't think I should say it on YouTube. Okay, spit is fine. The C word that comes out of your that's fine. No number 1 or number 2. Number 1 is fine on Slushy as long as you're not drinking it, okay? Good. And squirting is fine. Hopefully that answers that question. Okay, do I need to show explicit content? Now, after we just talked about that, you don't need to. This is not, like, you can do whatever you want. When I get this question, I understand what you mean, but at the same time, like, this is your life. You can do whatever the hell you want to do in this life, right? So if you don't want to do explicit content, don't. But by saying that, I'm also going to be real with you and say, you gotta have something for someone to want to pay. So if you're not doing explicit content, maybe you're telling explicit stories. Maybe you're teaching something. Maybe you're like, I remember some girl, she would teach twerking on her OF. So you gotta have something that's gonna provide a reason for someone to subscribe. If you're just doing bikini photos or like lingerie photos, unless you're like a huge celebrity or like you are a really big social media influencer, people can find lingerie photos of pretty girls, right? So what's the catch? Like, what are you giving them for this subscription price? So yeah, you can do whatever you want. If you don't want to do explicit, don't. But what are you going to provide? You need to think about that. How do I promote OF and Slushy? Guys, I've got plenty of videos on this. Social media is gonna be the best way. Social media is the only way, really. You can do dating apps, you can do social media, whatever it is, and I have plenty of videos on this. Slushy luckily has a discover feed, so you can, you know, start to gain your following there, but you're still gonna need to promote. because you have to build an audience that cares about who you are. And the only way to really do that is to show your personality on social media and get yourself out there and be consistent with it. If you're not consistent, if you're posting once a week, no one's gonna care. You have to be at the top of someone's mind often for somebody to care and to get to know your personality and to really want to see you in another light, which would be your sexy pages. So social media is going to be the best way, and that can be any social media: Reddit, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, wherever works for you. The thing is like, you have to try all these different platforms, or X, I forgot, not Twitter, X. You have to try and see what works for you. And for the longest time, Twitter/X was the biggest place for me to promote myself. And then TikTok became the biggest place for me to promote myself. And now I'm actually going back to Twitter/X, and I'm trying that again because I've noticed a little bit of a, spike. So you have to play around with all these sites. You have to play around with all these options. You have to keep doing your research and keep moving with the times, because the times are going to change. So try different things. That's how you promote yourself. You try different things, you learn from what you've posted before and see what did well, see what did bad, and then make adjustments so that you're continuing to make better content and as consistently as possible. That's the way you promote yourself. It's literally as simple as that. And I feel like, we're always searching for like, oh, what's the best way? What's the new way? The only way is to learn marketing. And the only way to market is through social media. Like, that's it. It's that simple, and you just have to put in the effort. That's all. There's no like get rich quick scheme or like, go viral scheme. You can learn how to go viral and, put those into practice, but it doesn't mean you're gonna hit viral every single time. Some people get lucky and they do hit viral a lot, so then they build that following and they build that connection with their audience really quickly, so then they continue to watch their content. But really, it's about learning and putting in the work. What's the best pricing structure? Okay, so like I said, there is no best way. I've seen people go free pages and then they just send out mass messages. I've seen people do just a subscription price and no PPV, and that does really well. I've seen people do a mix of both. I've seen people go high with their subscription price, low with subscription price. I've seen people do high PPV, low PPV. There's so many ways. I've seen people have tip menus, not have tip menus. I have a tip menu, but I don't have my prices on it. But I've seen other people put tip menus and they had their prices on it and worked for them. And I've done that before in the past. There's no right answer. I cannot give you like a blueprint for exactly what you have to do, because so many people do it so differently and they still find success, right? So there's no perfect pricing structure. What I would recommend is seeing what other people are doing and adjusting and constantly adjusting. I don't change my subscription price, because if you higher your subscription price, people are gonna drop off. If you lower it, maybe they'll stick around, but I try to just keep it where it is. It's at a comfortable place for me. But other than that, I play around with my prices when it comes to like tip menu, or when it comes to custom content or my PPVs or whatever. I play around with it. And that's the only way to learn, is to literally get in there and try. Try things, try different prices, see what feels comfortable for you, see what feels comfortable for your fans and what they are willing to like consistently buy and purchase from you. Because if you're like putting things up for like $500 on Slushy and no one's buying it, then what's the point? Lower it and see if more people will buy. And so you just really have to play around with it and see what works for you. There's no perfect structure, okay? And if someone tells you that there is, they're lying, because I've seen people be very successful in so many different ways. What percent do the platforms take? They take 20%. Both of them take 20%. I know that there's some other random little fees sometimes. Don't worry about it. It's 20%. And at the end of the day, if you are putting in the work and you're making your money, you will make a lot of money. Like, yeah, it's 20%. It's the same as like if you had a management, you were a famous actress and you have a management. I think they take probably something similar. But they need it to run the sites and to continue to pay their employees and to grow the site and to, just make sure that everything's running well. So I don't worry about that really. That's something, you could host your own site, right? For free. Because I've heard some people say that, why wouldn't I just run my own site? Because for fans, first of all, they have accounts with these sites. And they trust these sites that if something goes wrong, they're gonna get their money back, or, that their stuff is secure. If you just had a random site of your own, who's to say your fans are gonna trust that random site you made? So it gives them the peace of mind, and it gives you the peace of mind that you're also protected. And that's what that 20% goes to, you know? Okay, can I sell other products or services through my profile? So I'm guessing that means like lingerie, photos, like physical photos, underwear, socks, that type of thing. And I have before on my sites, and I think as long as you say that nothing is dirty, everything is brand new, you should be fine, because that's legally how you can sell those things. And that's all I'll say on that, because I don't actually want to give false information. So as long as your stuff is fresh and new or lightly used, I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't think you can say used. Yeah, it should be okay. Is my identity confidential? So yes, your identity is confidential. Use a different name. Use like, you know, an alias name if you want to. You do, like I said, have to put your identification in there just to get verified that you are of age. But that stuff stays with the site, and your identity is confidential. Just make sure that you maybe block your location or, you know, whatever else. Make sure you have different socials for it if you want to do it that way. So you should be good. You know, these sites have to protect your confidentiality, so you can trust that they do. What are the tax implications? So I'm not exactly sure what you mean by this, but just like any job, you're gonna get a document in the mail as long as you put your proper mailing address, which is confidential as well. It's just for the site so that they can send you these documents for your taxes. So you wanna put away 30% of everything that you make, because you don't know how much you're gonna end up paying in taxes. And that's just a comfortable place to keep the amount. That doesn't mean you'll actually pay a full 30%, because obviously you can write things off and then that takes away from how much you made and all of that. You need to talk to a tax expert, because I know nothing and I did my taxes wrong like 2 years ago. So I had to get someone that does my taxes. So they will do it for you, okay? Don't worry about it. Honestly, don't worry about it. It's the same as having a job, except for you take the taxes out later instead of them taking it out right away, okay? They pay you, you're self-employed, you have an LLC, you don't even need to do anything the first year. Don't worry about it. Just go talk to a tax expert when it comes down to tax season. Make sure you're saving 30% and you should be fine, okay? Talk to an expert. It's not me. I have a whole video on it of the things that I know that you can do, but other than that, talk to an expert. Don't be looking up that stuff on the internet and trying to figure it out yourself. Talk to an expert. You can even go onto like TurboTax and push talk to an expert. Easy as that. You might have to pay for it, but that's why you're putting in the work to make the money, okay? How do I know if I can use OF or Slushy in my country? You're gonna have to go onto the site and see if you can use it. See if it's under their terms of services. I don't know all the countries in the world. I don't know all the countries that are legally allowed to. And if your country is not allowed to use the site, it's because there's like laws in place that don't allow you. It's not because the site doesn't want you, okay? I promise. How do I handle online harassment and unwanted attention? Now, this has got to be coming from a mental place. I get all types of comments, especially on my YouTube videos. I just ignore it. You have to learn to ignore these things, because at the end of the day, it does not matter. None of it matters. You're gonna be fine. These people don't mean anything. And as far as like on your actual site, I've noticed that on my Slushy and on my OF, I get really amazing fans. You have to cultivate an audience like that. You have to make sure, like, you know, you're putting your foot down when someone disrespects you. And I just say it in a really nice way. Hey, I didn't like that you said that. I'm not gonna, you know, this is your one-time warning. That's that. We can move forward. I really like having you here. I wanna, you know, continue a good relationship, right? So just saying it, something like that, you know, if someone says something kind of inappropriate or that you don't really like, you know, that's out of my comfort zone. Let's change the conversation here. And if you continue to do it, that's, you know, that's the end of there. And then you just block them. And then as far as like on social media, it really is just about ignoring it, for real. Like, ignore it, delete it, whatever. I don't even delete half the things. Like, I mean, I don't delete anything really, unless it's like super bad. But it's just a mental thing. You have to be mentally strong enough to ignore and realize that like none of this matters. Like the TikToks always say, we're on a floating rock. Like, nothing matters, okay? What kind of support and resources are available from the platform? We're not employed by these companies, so they don't need to offer us anything like health insurance or anything like that, right? You need to get that on your own. And like I said, that's why you're putting in the work to make the money so that you can pay for those things. But yeah, like health services, nothing like that is offered. What you do get with Slushy is there actually is a Discord for creators only. Reach out to me on Slushy if you want the link. And that is a community for creators to connect. On OF, there's nothing really like it. So yeah, that's a great place to connect with creators and learn what's going on the site and getting to know the site, getting to know how you can, you know, perform your best on the site and all of that. That's what the Discord is for. And it's actually a great resource just to get connected and to stay up to date with what's going on. But yeah, they don't offer like any extra resources really. Like if you need mental health resources, I would go to like betterhelp.com. I don't know, just something, you know, they can't give you everything. Okay, they can't, I'm sorry. Do I need to tell my family about my work? Guys, you can do whatever you want in this life, okay? I promise you, you have free will. You can or you don't have to. It's up to you. I didn't have that conversation with my family. I think I told my sister because I lived with her, and then she told my mom, and then my mom was like, oh, I wish Alanah would tell me. And then I just told my mom. That was the end of it. I didn't tell anyone else. And then my aunt at one point asked me about it and I told her about it. But other than that, I'm not going around telling people, hey, I'm popping my puss on the freaking internet. I don't need to tell anybody that. If you want to go look, go ahead. It's nothing to do with you. But I also don't keep it a secret, obviously. I post it all over my Instagram, all over the internet, and I use my freaking name, as you can tell. So it's not like it's hidden from my family, but me personally, I don't feel any need to go around telling everybody. But again, it's completely up to you what you want to do. If you want to sit down and have a conversation and be like, hey, this is what I'm planning to do, and that feels comfortable to you, then do it. If it doesn't feel comfortable or safe, then don't do it and keep it private. It's up to you. I personally don't feel the need or urge to tell everyone, but I also feel very strongly about being open. That way it doesn't feel like, oh, I'm hiding this thing, or, you know, someone can use it against me and there's blackmail. It's like, no, I'm putting it there, you know? So that's how I feel about it, and it's completely up to you. Are there any startup costs that are non-negotiable? So I talked about this actually with my assistant, Katiana, and she said she feels like it was really helpful and important to get the tripod with the ring light. And she said that that was like, you know, one that she thinks is super important to get. Make sure you have a good camera for taking photos and everything. And I agree that like that's the only thing you really need. You need a camera, and your phone works perfectly fine as long as the camera's not busted. And then if you want a ring light, but you could totally use natural light. There's no cost that's like, you need to have this to start. You don't need anything. I stand by that. You can start with just your phone and natural lighting and your own body. You don't need lingerie. You don't need anything. That's all you need. You just need you and a phone to post and a phone to take photos on, and that's it. And then when you start to make money, you can reinvest in yourself, which I think is important. I do think it's important to reinvest in yourself. So having like a tripod, having a ring light, I think those are two good things to have that I use. And then to start to build up your like toy collection if you're gonna be doing that type of stuff, or to build up your lingerie collection. And those are the only things that I have for my OF and for my Slushy. That's literally it. So really, it's not anything crazy that you need to like invest in. Is starting an OF Slushy career suicide? I love that. Honestly, no. Like, you will be fine. At the end of the day, yes, the internet is forever, but at the same time, like, it's sort of and sort of not, in a way that, yes, your content will be out there forever, but that doesn't mean that, like, this is career ending or like whatever. It's really opened a lot of doors for me personally, and I didn't even expect to be where I'm at now. And also it's opened my mind to be able to work for myself. So even if I don't want to do this type of content forever, I have opened so many other avenues for my life and businesses that I will continue to run. And like, I will never work for somebody in that sense ever again, where I'm like tied to them and I feel like I have no way out and that I couldn't make money on my own. I will never be doing that again. I always know that I can make money on my own in so many different ways, and that's what I do. I have 7+ revenue streams, and I stand by that. I think that's really important to just start figuring that stuff out when you get into this type of work. But no, it's not, you know, life ending. My family and friends are great. If somebody doesn't agree with what I'm doing, guess what? You're out the door. Like, I don't need you in my life. Like, I don't like people that are judgmental, so it kind of like weeds those people out. You're gonna be fine, I promise you. Like I said, we're on a floating rock. Nothing really matters that much. As long as you're happy, as long as you're being a good person to your family and friends and your neighbor, you're good. Like, you're truly good, I promise. My partner is not on board, and I don't want to pressure them, but I also want to give good arguments as to why this is a good business decision. What would be your top talking points? I have like a tough answer for you. If two people don't agree on things, there's got to be a little bit of a give and take, right? So, but if this is ultimately like something that they cannot take, then maybe you guys are not a good match, right? So either like someone's gonna have to give. Either you are gonna not end up doing what you want to do, or they are going to have to accept that this is what you want to do. And maybe it's like, hey, these are the types of content I want to create. Do you feel comfortable with these? Or maybe you can write a list of the content that would be like a good middle ground. You can do something like that. For me personally, I wanted to find someone that I knew was completely comfortable with everything that I was doing on the internet. And if I didn't find that person, then they weren't for me. It's different when you've obviously been in a relationship for a long time with somebody and then you want to do this. But for me personally, I want to be able to do whatever I want to do, and my person's going to allow that. And if they're not going to allow that, then they're not my person. I know that's probably controversial to say, but that's just how I feel, because I am the type of person that like I need my own freedom and of choice to do the things that I want to do that make me feel like good. So like I said, maybe it's like writing the list. Here's the things I want to do. What would you feel comfortable with? Cross out the things that you don't want me to do. And maybe you start there, and then as they get more comfortable with it, they agree to more or whatever. But I don't want to say it's a great business decision for everybody, because sometimes it's not. And sometimes if you don't have like the motivation and effort to put in like 1,000% and to actually not make a lot of money in the beginning, and it's going to take time really, then it's not a good business decision for you. If you are willing to put in like massive amounts of effort and really create a business, then yeah, it could be a good business decision. But I don't want to say like this is the ultimate business decision, because it's not. Like, there's so many millions of ways to make money if you want a business, and all of them are going to take effort and time and everything like that. So this is hard. I don't want to like say the wrong thing really. I just want to say, if it's for you, it'll be for you. If it's not for you, then it's not for you. And you ultimately get to make that decision. And if your partner doesn't agree with you, then again, you get to make that decision if that's your partner. I don't want to get into your relationship, okay? Those are my answers. I hope that was helpful. I know some of them were hard to hear, but I hope it was helpful. And if you have any other questions, please leave them in the comments down below, and maybe we'll do another video like this. And with that all being said, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.